back. Father and Son News Show. We got some special guests in the building.
Yeah.
And you good, Dad? Because you fired up.
Yeah.
Of course, on demand episodes always available. RadioOnFire.com/father and son. We are joined in studio by Kenny Ebron.
Hey.
How you doing, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
Wonderful. Mr. Daren Muhammad, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. Peace to you and the family, and just honored to be back in your presence. We met, of course, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Father and I, we were blessed to be a part of the Black Think Tank. When we started the Black Think Tank at Everyone's Place bookstore.
Right.
Your father, your mother, and so it's just been an honor to kind of, I think, rekindle old friendships.
Absolutely.
Just thank you for the invitation.
Thank y'all for joining us. So, Mr. Ebron, tell our listeners a little bit about what you do around Baltimore.
Okay. I have a program called No One Left Behind. The program is consistent helping those who need help, meeting them where they at, picking them up from where they at, and just really just rescuing them from their situation. So when I have folks who are in the position of losing their home, I'm able to contact folks that can help them so they won't lose their homes. Folks that are dealing with high water bills that need help and trying to find some way to get some assistance for them. Children that's going through different kinds of issues, I'm able to find folks that are able to address those issues with them so that they can do much better than what they're doing in school. So I'm all around the city of Baltimore, born and raised here, and love my city of Baltimore. And when I see someone is not doing right for our city or something, that's just not right, I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand.
As you should.
This is my city. My mom lived here. My dad lived here. They died here in this city. My grandmother, she was a person who listened to the talk shows every night, and I used to kind of peep and listen or hear the talk shows that she was listening to, and she just loved the city of Baltimore. She loved what was going on in the city of Baltimore. Like I had told a lot of people in my testimony that my mother had passed away when I was going to the 4th grade. I was just going to the 4th grade. She passed away in August. We went to the 4th grade in September,
right.
And my mother passed away, and I shut down in school from all the way to the 12th grade, and I was going to take my driver's license and couldn't understand the test, and one of the instructors from the motor vehicles came to me and said, "Look, I see you struggling with this. He said, I need you to go check out this program at school." And I went to check out this program. I had to take a test, and I wound up with just reading on a 4th grade reading level. So I understand what our children are going through, and when they're not getting what they need to get,
right.
Then it upsets me. It
Understandable.
upsets me. So,
Understandable.
So I'm helping our children to our senior citizens.
Yeah.
I'm there to help
need
them.
it.
Yeah.
We need it.
That's interesting, man, because your talk just now, my granddaddy told me, he said, it ain't but 2 kind of people on the planet. From the heart, they good or they bad. That's it. Ain't nothing in the middle. Your heart is real easy to read. You're a good man.
I appreciate it.
No, I mean, and listen, and I don't know if everybody can see it and read it like that, but you are. Because your little testimony was real. I felt it.
Appreciate it.
I felt it, man. I like that. I felt it.
All right. So, Mr. Muhammad, please tell our listeners about your radio show and a little bit about what you do around Baltimore.
Yes, sir. Well, Daren Muhammad, host of State of the City radio show. I've been doing radio now for almost 30 years. And I'm not a radio talk show host that became an activist, but an activist who became a radio talk show host. So I think I would say well-known in the city, well-known, I think, in this region. And in terms of the work that I've done growing up, this is my blood brother. So, his testimony really is my testimony. In that sense, a lot of people don't know me in terms of that part. I don't spend a lot of time talking about that part. I think my story is the story of many black families growing up in Baltimore City, many black families that left the South and came to Baltimore City and set down our roots, So, growing up in Baltimore City, growing up in West Baltimore, knowing that great history of Druid Hill Avenue, McCullough Street, Pennsylvania Avenue, not just walking it but living it, knowing the importance of community, knowing the importance of that extended family, and how your neighbors were your family. And as the African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. Family is the village, and the village is the family. And I think that's what helped to make me the young man that I am today. Growing up through the Recreation Center, Baltimore City Public School System.
Absolutely.
Going to Utah Marshburn, connected to Crispus Attucks, one of the first black killed in the Revolutionary War. I think that foundation, coming up in recreation and those things you learned in recreation, gave you kind of life lessons. The sports, playing basketball, playing football. I don't spend a lot of time talking about that because you can meet a lot of brothers and sisters in Baltimore City. It's kind of stuck in a state of arrested development. And they spend too much time talking about that.
Yeah.
I used to be, right?
Yeah.
Grandma used to say, used to be's don't make no honey, right? So we spend a lot of time on used to be's. It's about what are we doing now, today? We can reminisce on that, but we can't stay there.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately, this is what you see in Baltimore City and most cities where our brothers and sisters are stuck in that state of arrested development because they haven't found their purpose in life. And so I was honored in being able to grow up in Baltimore City, become a member of the Nation of Islam. I think grabbing that knowledge, that basic knowledge, helped me to learn, of course, one of my major purposes in life. And so, it's ironic. Growing up, our father was one of the first blacks to work at WMAR, Channel 2. They used to be on TV shows like Romper Room, Professor Cool Fun School. I didn't know anything about that. So it's just interesting that later on I would come back to do television and radio where I didn't have an inclination toward that as a child, but just kind of shows you how God kind of has his hand over you. Say, I got another purpose for you that you don't even see at the time when you're going through your struggles in life. So here I am, 2019, State of the City radio show still comes on WFBR, 1590. I've been on WEAA, used to host the Final Call radio show, was one of the first brothers to work to put Minister Farrakhan on cable television years ago when they had United Cable over on Kirk Avenue, and then we, of course, when they came to cable access, we put them on the cable access channel, etc. So that's been a part of my growth and development in Baltimore City, and going in and out of the schools, going in wherever our people are, taking that message of, I think the knowledge of self and respect for life. And being an activist that's going to speak truth to the power and the powerless and the powerful in the city. And that's what I grew up seeing. Men like Parent Mitchell wasn't rare men, but they were strong black men that we saw. Women like Verda Welcome and women like Victorine Adams were women that we saw growing up that could teach our girls how to become women. And that's what's missing today in Baltimore City in terms of those strong black men and strong black women that could nurture and teach those that want to go into whatever field they want to go into, but they have to have that strong foundation to be able to stand against powerful forces and sources all around them.
Absolutely. You guys heard our thoughts on Mayor Pugh and the so-called scandal. What are your thoughts? Let's start with you, Kenny, on Catherine Pugh.
Yeah, just like Muhammad was saying, when these women is in a position that they're in, they are supposed to be a model to the other children. I mean, the other girls. Sure. When you look at Michelle Obama, you see how the young girls, they look up to her and say, I want to be like that. Yeah. Then when you look at our mayors, women in our city of Baltimore, and you see the girls, they don't pay them no mind. They don't say, I want to be like that or anything. It's not setting an example of what a woman in power should be like, or what a woman in power, just that queen. They don't see it, and it's not an example there of what to be. They just see and failure. And this is not uplifting our little girls. That's the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. I can't argue with that part. I can't argue with that part. Mr. Muhammad, what about Catherine Pugh?
Well, I think the ascension of, we used to sing a song, and one of our great songsters, Billie Holiday, talked about strange fruit, right? Hanging from a tree. What we have today is strange fruit that's been plucked from our tree and not nurtured by us and taught by us. And this is what we've seen in these last 3 women mayors. from Sheila Dixon to Stephanie Rollins to Kathy Pugh. They're not connected to the community. They're not connected, even though they all three come out of Bethel AME Church. What is Bethel AME producing that these women don't have the kind of foundation that they need to have physically, mentally, and spiritually? Think about that.
Wow.
Look at what Druid Hill Avenue looks like with Bethel AME Church being there as long as it's been, right? You don't see that from Jewish synagogues and temples. When they develop the centers of power spiritually, they develop in their communities, right? They develop in schools. They
100%.
develop in businesses, right?
100%.
And so, coming back to your initial question, should the man go? Absolutely. Because we're late in our political game. And what you're doing when you talk about African principles, the game of chess, you got to have the queen. The ultimate part is to checkmate that queen, right? She don't have a king. So you shouldn't even be on the board if you don't have a king, brother. You understand? And this is what we got to stop doing. Stop putting women in power who don't have king. You come out of a strong family. Your father, I know your mother, right? She don't have a strong king. Sheila Dixon don't have a strong king. Stephanie Rollins don't have a strong king. Stop putting these women in power that don't have strong king, because they will be checkmated in every day in every kind of way. And the death of Michael Bush is a message to her. If you think he died just from some pneumonia, you better think again, okay? Because we're in serious time. The University of Maryland's been around since 1823. You think them white boys are going to let an institution that's been around here since 1823 sink and keep a woman like Kathy Pugh in power? Or keep a man like Michael Bush in power? And we really think that he just died from pneumonia. This is what most people think. You didn't even know he was in the hospital, did you?
I didn't know he was in the hospital.
Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon and got
They said he wasn't doing good.
But then he had cancer?
No, he had a liver transplant. You didn't hear anything about that. The liver went bad. They said he had pneumonia. He said he wasn't coming back for the rest of the session. Next thing you know, we wake up, he dead, right? So I think we can't dismiss any of that. But by her staying, again, you got to look at whether this will affect the city's credit rating, because creditors are looking at this right now. You understand?
That's
the
true.
big boys on Wall Street are looking at this. But not only that. When you look at the seriousness of her crimes as a radio,
what are the crimes?
The seriousness was that you're voting on contracts for boards who you sit on and you don't disclose it. First, you can't sit on a board that does business with the city. That's in the city's charter. And this is where black media comes in, not your media. But black media like the Baltimore Times and the Afros, they too busy having bromances and romances rather than holding them to you understand, to accountability. And this is what black media has done. And
so is she the only person that's done that?
No, she was the only elected official that was sitting on the board that took money. You got white businessmen that was on the board. One was a former elected official. He was wise enough to at least wait until he got out of office. She wasn't wise enough to do that. So this is what I'm saying. We can't have people in power that don't. And in the meantime, right, we're talking about a cartoon, a book. You understand? And then to use the most innocent of our people, the children. To say you did it for the children. It's the same thing Sheila Dixon said. It was going to be for the children, right? Everybody says it's going to be for the children. We want slots because it's going to help the racetracks. Who is it going to be for? The children. And look at our schools, right? Lead still, high levels of lead in the Baltimore City public school system.
Can't drink the water.
You go to the zoo, you don't see one sign saying habitat closed because of lead, right? But go to Baltimore City public schools, you see trash bags over the fountains. This is an indictment on black leadership, right? But
does Catherine Pugh have to be the example? I mean, the points that you make are valid.
Yeah.
But taking out Catherine Pugh is not going to fix the schools. It's not going to change any Druid Hill Avenue.
So I think see, but because what has happened is when you take a little of what she's done and I think expand it, right? What you're showing is that money that should have been coming uptown is being kept downtown because of people who's giving her money. How do you take $40 million of the city workers' pension? She didn't take her pension and give it to a company, Ariel Investment, because they bought some books and gave her a couple of $1,000. That's city workers' money. You can't do that. You understand? She ain't put her pension up. She didn't offer the police officers' pension. She didn't offer firefighters. City workers' pension. Hard, and that's the real nuts and bolts to keep this city running. Are the city workers. And oftentimes they can't get pensions right now, or can't get an increase in pensions or increase in salaries or whatever. Except for when one mess up, then they tend to put all that attention on that one city worker. But I think that she owes the black community an apology, right? Because if she really loved the black people and loved the citizens of the city, she wouldn't be taking the citizens through what she's taking them through. When she stood up there and had that Miss Jane Pittman press conference 2 weeks ago, talking about she got pneumonia.
Jane Pittman.
Yeah, she sound like Jane. My doctor told me I'm up here against my doctor's wishes, right? It was all of that. And then speaking to 20 minutes. I can't come here and do a radio station without stopping to take a drink of water. Yeah. She spoke for 20 minutes claiming she got pneumonia. And then she only infuriated the press after speaking for 20 minutes. Then she just walks away. After pulling out onesies, look like a healthy Holly spring lineup. You know what I mean? Right? You pulling out onesies, pulling out bibs. What does that have to do with the book? So then what happened is you made them go and uncover more of your dirt. And initially she said it was only the University of Maryland. Now we finding out it's more than the University of Maryland, right? Yeah. So she loved the citizens and this city. She would have stood there and took questions. That's what a sign of a good leader is. Regardless of however painful those questions may have been. She would have stood up there and took those questions from the media. And if she didn't want to take it from the white media, she could at least have a press conference with the black media, right? She could at least sit down with the black media. It's what she should, but she's not. She's failed to do that. Perrin Mitchell used to do that. The Goon Squad would do that. The Black United Front would do that. Even Frank Reed would do it when he wanted something from Minister Farrakhan in the final call. He'd find the black media. But she ain't found the black media. And you notice the black media is silent because we might find out they may be tied to the books, the Baltimore Times and the Afro. They're not really talking about it. So I think her best thing is to resign so Jack Young can ascend to the mayor's office. But what you're not seeing from Jack Young is a black man that have the testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. You know why? Because when you do the research, you find out that her treasurer, who set up the LLCs, is also Jack Young's treasurer. So Jack Young got to get out in front of it and say that, yes, Keith Timmons was my treasurer as well as her treasurer. Now, then Jack got to say, I got 2 LLCs or 3 LLCs, but then he got to see, this is how you get in front of it. But if he doesn't do that, then he don't have to say he's not running for mayor. We already know he's running. He's just running scared right now. You understand? But the best thing he can do is stand up and tell the truth. Joan Pratt did her taxes. We know this. So Joan will be tied into this. She might go down. The best thing she could do is have a press conference and lay it all out on the table, brother.
So we need to send... we need to send all of them to jail.
No. I'm in agreement with, I know you say Donald Trump. I'm in agreement with what Donald Trump said about the corruption in Washington, D.C. That we got to drain the swamp. Look, kind of corruption. Yeah. And they took out 79. They took out 79 officials in Chicago. They ran out of trench coats and plexi cuffs. That's what
one man's swamp is another man's treasure. Yeah. You know. So Donald Trump, if he was able to drain that swamp, there's gonna be another swamp. Whoever come in, they're gonna try to drain that.
But you gotta
a perpetual.
But you gotta get that
drainage.
one. You gotta get that one that's there. And regardless, whoever else it touches that's on the board of the University of Maryland, you gotta get them as well. Then don't stop there. But see, this is where again black media comes in because the first thing they'll do with Kathy Pugh is start running the victim game. Well, they out to get me. It's a witch hunt. You know what I mean? And if they can't hunt if there's nothing to hunt.
But
right? Then some say it's because she's filing a lawsuit against the previous. But what does that have to do with what we're talking about right now?
But here's the thing. With your scenario, everybody in business and in politics will go down because if you're robbing an elected official, you should go down. This is where you bring in either the state special prosecutor or you bring in the feds and you use the RICO Act. But how you
take them down?
How you gonna do that?
You got an opportunity to clean it up.
How you gonna do that? Look at the top of the government.
Top of the government.
The top of the government. National is worse than the local.
We're gonna disagree on that.
Yeah, well,
you gotta start right here.
How?
You gotta start right here. This is where you start.
Impossible.
It's out there now. It's out there. She said it was only the University of Maryland, right? Now we finding out it's Kaiser Permanente,
but
Blue Cross Blue Shield. Wait a minute. You talking
Bring
about
your mic
Associated
close.
Black Charities, right?
Close, yeah.
So Associated Black Charities was carrying out money laundering. It's essentially what at a time when if you had a group called Associated Jewish Charity, they're gonna look out for Jews. Associated Black Charities not looking out for nobody but some bourgeoisies in the suites, not the masses of our people in the streets. Tell me what the Associated Black Charity is doing for black people in the city.
Listen,
the proof is in what we're seeing right now. Why they've closed schools.
Following your logic, and I'm not disagreeing.
It's not my logic. It's the truth.
I'm not disagreeing with those facts. But everybody will go down.
Well, you got to start.
I'm talking about all the way to Washington.
Well, no, you're not. No, we got to start right here, based on again. Look, we got to start. Charity begins at home. Clarity begins at home, and parity begins at home. It starts right here. That's where it starts.
You just said bringing in the feds, bringing in.
Yes, bringing the feds.
They're worse than here.
Robert. Remember, years ago. when they had 19 members on the city council. And at that time, Tom DiBaggio was the U.S. attorney. Tom DiBaggio popped them then. He said they was taking money from Errol Parkin and taking money from, what's the guy that owned Hale, right? They were taking money from Hale and without reporting it, right? And then voting on contracts. Sheila Dixon gave Hale, the Senator Theater, $1 million. Do you remember that, right? Mm-hmm. So by the time DiBaggio was looking at that, then for whatever reason, Jonathan Luna's murdered. Mm-hmm. DiBaggio comes out and say he wasn't pursuing the cases anymore. The city council members, including at that time, Kathy Pugh had a press conference. They said we learned our lesson and it wasn't going to happen again. And this is what they said, right? Then 4 years later, Sheila Dixon get popped for what? Gift cards and voting on contracts. And when she voted on the contract for Ron Lipscomb of Dorcon, and then got on a train and went on shopping sprees with him to Chicago and other cities. You remember the Jimmy Choo scandal? They were talking about, right? You can't vote on contracts, right? The benefit, and this is what Kathy Pugh was doing. So that's the criminal part of it. You cannot do that.
It's true.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's why
you have a fiduciary responsibility.
That's why Granddaddy said what he said.
Yes.
He said the world is round.
Yes.
But it's crooked.
Yeah,
just the same.
Absolutely.
And then she done.
Absolutely.
She
got cracks in it.
They
too.
all learned. Who they learning from?
But you can't. But you can't.
Who they learning from?
Look, our people didn't elect her to go down there and participate in what she's been participating. And this is not what she was doing while she was mayor. Most of this she was doing while she was the state senator. So as the state senator, she was sitting over the subcommittee dealing on health issues that benefited the University of Maryland. All she had to do, brother, was to resign from the board of the University of Maryland when she became a state senator.
But
she didn't.
But everything that's going on in Washington with Donald Trump is okay.
But no, we can't tell. Look, same thing we tell our children. Two wrongs don't make it right, right?
Yeah.
Just because they're doing it don't mean you're supposed to go down there and do it, right? Because they're doing it, we don't go do that. We're supposed to be better than that. And if
do you hear this? We're supposed to be better than that.
I'm gonna come back to what I said again.
Everything we know,
she's a queen.
Everything you know, you want to learn.
She's a queen and she had a king. Hopefully she wouldn't be participating in that.
You learn from white
folks. But no. Grandma hands and grandma's wisdom. Now the question is, they said the African proverb.
And you know that they corrupt. And then
they're corrupt, but because they're corrupt don't mean I'm supposed to be corrupt with them. Because they down there don't mean I got to get down in the ditch with them.
Here's the point.
Yes.
Here's the point.
She got down in the ditch with him.
Here's the point.
And if
you gonna persecute.
I'm not persecuting her.
Talk to the mic.
I'm not persecuting
her. You gonna persecute her?
You're saying some good stuff.
They okay.
No.
They all right.
No.
Let them do that.
Tommy Bromwell, check this out. Tommy Bromwell, a white elected official, right? Did the same crimes as Kathy Pugh. Tommy Bromwell went to prison. Not only did Bromwell go to prison, his wife went to prison.
Well, I think the president needs to go to prison. I think the president needs to.
Let's not change this. Did Bromwell and his wife go to jail? Bromwell went to jail. Yeah, he's right here in Maryland. He was a delegate. Bromwell went to jail. His wife went to jail, right? Now, 2 years ago, Kathy Pugh gets on a plane going to Vegas, right? She don't get on Southwest Airlines. She gets on a private jet owned by Walter Tilley Jr. You know who Walter Tilley Jr. is? He's the man who owns Home Paramount Pest Control, right? Who has contracts with the city of Baltimore. Okay. Why is this black woman getting on a plane with 6 white guys? Why is she getting on a plane? See, that's risky business and frisky business, brother. You don't do that, man. You don't. Let me tell you. And she gets on with Bromwell. That's facts. The Sun paper wrote it May 16th, 2016.
What did you say?
Right? If the Sun paper was lying, don't you think she would sue them for character assassination or defamation of character?
I don't.
They wrote it. You can't get on the plane with them. You can't get on the plane with these convicted felons. She ain't hanging out with Lil Melvin Williams. She ain't hanging out with them black convicted fellas. She ain't hanging out with Peanut King. He just come home. She hanging out with Tommy Bromwell and the boys. So you cannot do that. That's all I'm saying. You don't even want to give the appearance. You want to be, you know what those saying? You want to be cleaner than Caesar's wife. And she wasn't cleaner than Caesar's wife.
This is ludicrous.
It is ludicrous.
You're saying you got to be above reproach.
You better be. And as I always say, brother,
this is ludicrous.
They will co-op you, and when they finish with you, they will co-drop you. And this is what
here's my thing.
But we got to do better as a people. If
this was Martin O'Malley's books, we would not be having this conversation.
Well, see, you got to remember, Kathy Pugh administration, Stephanie Rollins administration, and Sheila Dixon administration is an amalgamation of Martin O'Malley. See, again, as I'm saying,
this is bigger than the books.
This is targeting
a black politician,
but
and ignoring the same and worse from the white politician.
Now again, I'm gonna say we can't lower the bar, and right now that's what it seems. Not saying you. This is what seems to be happening with the masses of our people, and we may need a psychologist like a Dr. Patricia Newton to really study this pathology of our people, right?
Well,
because whatever the Jesuits did to us from 1619 to 2019, we still seeing the effects of white people. When Barbara Hart,
that's 100% true.
Yeah, white people. When a white person messes up, white folk ain't running them for office again. When Barbara Hoffman went against the Jews say you will never run for office again. They supported Lisa Gladden over Barbara Hoffman.
So we're operating at a handicap. We're operating behind. We started the
behind the eight ball,
and we gotta go by all the rules that they said, even though they don't go by them.
Right.
We got one hand tied behind the back, one foot tied, the shoestrings out untied, and somebody pulling our leg, and we gotta still win the race and do everything correctly.
Absolutely. If that's what we got, if that's what it takes. But let's be clear. Kathy Pugh, when you say, but you gotta be. Wait a minute, brother. You gotta be clear on the we that we talking about. Kathy Pugh didn't have to do that. Kathy Pugh was the darling of them. They were the ones that took Kathy Pugh and read Kathy Pugh.
Kathy Pugh was Brenda Johnson. You be saying the same thing.
One at a time.
They control Kathy Pugh.
If Kathy Pugh was Brenda Johnson, you be saying the same
Kathy
thing.
Pugh. They didn't do that. They told Kathy Pugh put up speed cameras. She say, "How many you want us to put up? We're gonna close schools. How many you want us to close?" She was gonna cancel. She was gonna cancel the Martin Luther King Day parade until we raised it on black radio. Now, how you gonna say you come from black people, but you gonna cancel the Dr. King parade? You think she would cancel all day? You think she would cancel the?
You talking about her?
You think she would cancel gay pride?
You talking about her?
Talking about canceling gay pride parade.
Muhammad, talk about her. You talking about her?
What we end up doing? We give them a pass. What ends up happening? We give our people want to give them a pass. Is what they do.
So
anybody be like, hey,
we gotta say time out for that.
If her name was Brenda Johnson, he'd be on her the same way.
If she's doing right, I'm gonna be supporting
her right there.
I'll be supporting if she's doing right. But if she's not doing right, you're right. I'm gonna be
I ain't heard you support her. I ain't heard you who you.
As the great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, and we're in a day and time. Author of the book Isis Paper. She said we were gonna have fighting Nefertiti's. Or we're gonna have compromising Cleopatra.
One thing about Muhammad.
Cleopatra's.
The brother has been. This has been his life.
But let me ask you something.
30. It's been his life. He's been working.
That's what we're supposed to do.
In our first segment, we talked about former President Barack Obama.
He'll talk about him too.
So we talked about.
He don't like it.
It ain't personal. It
ain't personal. Things to say about Barack Obama.
What did he do for the masses of black people? See, his
president. I'm gonna tell you the first thing he did. I'm gonna tell you the first thing he did. He got selected. Here's the first thing he did. The fact that he ascended to the highest office in this country and became the most powerful man in the world. Right there is an example enough. Even if he didn't do nothing else,
he came in the door saving the country. The country about to collapse. Goddamn, the stock market was here.
Let's be clear. He didn't save the country. He was saving Wall Street and the boys that put up the money to put him in position of power. With Bush, he didn't save the American Republic. He saved America, the corporations. Let's be clear about that.
Okay.
Again, we talking about the symbol of Obama. But when you ask the masses of black people,
he'll talk about Obama and tell you how great Trump is.
Hold on.
Outside of Obama phones, what did the masses of black people get from Obama? The gays benefited, Jews benefited.
So we need to put something in our hand.
What did our people get? Substantive. Right now, under President Trump, look what he signed, the First Step Act. Obama ain't signed.
God. Are you really going to do this?
I'm getting ready to do that. The First Step Act that was signed by President Trump, yes or no? And do you know what the First Step Act is? See, it's not the emotional response. It's based on, do you know what the First Step Act is? I'm just asking, yes or no?
I do, but please explain to the listeners.
I think you need to really look at that. Trump talked about, again, those who have been in prison because of again, Bill Clinton, the three strikes massacre. And you know who helped to construct that bill? You know who helped to write that bill?
Hillary.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden, yes. Right?
Biden
and that led to an enormous amount of black bodies, brown bodies being put in prison, right?
Yes.
Yes. So now it takes a Republican to do this in terms of signing the First Step Act to begin to say now we have to end this.
Long before that.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. He's saying let's reverse course on this. Now, Here comes another piece of legislation.
He's trying to get y'all to vote for him.
Let me say this.
So we
That's
talk
why
about legislation.
Right. I think you got to look at the legislation
What
and look at
what about the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act. Well, you got to.
How many people became insured that never had access to insurance?
But sure.
So you said what is he done for people? I just threw something out
I'm gonna
there.
say again. Listen to what you said, because you just testified to what I'm about to say. Insurance. See, that was a benefit to the insurance company, not a benefit to the American people. So let's be clear about that.
So
again, Obama was looking out for the corporations.
The insurance system, as flawed as it is,
right? He didn't.
People being able to go
Granddaddy
to the doctors is not a benefit.
Granddaddy said the world is
universal
round,
health
but it's
care,
crooked
single
just the
payer.
same.
He wasn't talking about that like they have in Canada and other places.
So
he was looking out for the insurance companies.
You don't have any problem with the criminal system. You praising Trump for the First Step Act.
No, I'm saying let's look at the First Step Act. Sure.
Anybody should have about the insurance system.
People should have a right to health care as they do in Cuba.
Absolutely.
So all I'm saying that if Obama wanted to do that and the Congress wanted to do that, when the Democrats had control of Congress and the Senate, that would have been the opportunity. But what we end up seeing is, again, as Malcolm said, those you think are really Democrats are Dixiecrats in disguise. Because they were
Trump? Trump's been a Democrat and a Republican.
Right, he's a populist. That's what you got. He's a populist.
No,
the other thing you got to look at with President
Trump
that he signed is the opportunity zone, right? But what happens is they use this boogeyman whole thing with our people, the black media, right?
Sure.
Trump's coming. Trump's going to get you. Trump's going to get you.
He's
right?
not good. He's not a fictitious boogeyman.
But
He's an actual
show
boogeyman.
me what wars that Obama expanded that Trump has expanded. He hasn't expanded any wars. He said he's bringing the troop home. Now, if Obama would have did that and said it, we'd be having ticker tape parades in every major city in America.
Obama
right?
didn't say he wanted to bring troops home?
No, he didn't say he wanted to bring the troops home. Not at all. He expanded. He expanded us, and he went into Libya. He went into Libya.
He didn't set a date for the troops to come home.
No, he went into Libya, right? Then he expanded what was going on in the Middle East, right? He went into Syria. He wanted to get rid of he wanted to get rid of Assad in Syria. Yes or no, right?
Yes.
Did he bring
right?
the troops home?
And what happened? ISIS was no more than what Obama and Hillary and the others created.
Oh my God! Are you going with that?
No, that's
These
fact.
are Republican talking points.
That's fact.
They're both Republicans.
These are not Republican.
No.
Black Agenda Report has talked about that. No. You can say that. Black Agenda Report and other progressive black media have talked about ISIS was a creation of the United States and Britain and Israel. That's fact. And this was they were part of Al Nusra in terms of the Al Nusra front. And they created them. They armed them. They created, of course.
We can say America creates a vacuum.
No, they trained them. They trained them is what I'm saying. They trained them just as they have the schools of America where they train those that go out to do. When you understand those that went into. This is what Malcolm always said. That this country is so corrupt that it has the seeds of its own destruction right within its own confines. When you know that history,
why do you only and that is absolutely true.
Yes.
That what Malcolm said. Why do you only fault the black people?
I'm not just faulting the black people.
We go back to chess. Pawns in
you heard
this
me mention Biden. You heard me mention Clinton, right? Trump is not a saint, but if there's some legislation that he passed that specifically will help our people, I'm gonna say
with disdain in your voice.
Obama was one of the greatest. Look, Obama was one of the greatest tricks that the white power structure ever used on our people since an African became the head of the Roman Empire in the last day by the name of Scipio Africanus.
He did not have a long reign.
Yeah. No. Listen to what I'm saying. Obama essentially made our people stop wanting to demonstrate, stop wanting to fight, stop wanting to stop. Yeah, because they said, look, don't do it because if you do it, it's gonna make them look bad. If you do it, it's gonna help the Republicans.
Obama never said that.
This is what happened.
I haven't been able to figure it out. I don't know what he is.
Black leadership and black media stopped fighting for the masses of our people when Obama.
I think that
likewise, what happened? All of our gays got turned back.
I think
the gays jumped our agenda, and now they started saying, guess what? That orange is the new black. That the new civil rights struggle is for gays, not for black men and women.
For a minute. Kenny, please say something about what's going on.
Okay, this is why I chose to have my brother on air,
and I'm glad you
because he does a lot with the with 1590. I mean the truth from the booth and all of that. And I really just wanted to really expose them to folks that's watching on my Facebook page and folks that's watching on other folks' Facebook pages to tune in and listen, because the brother comes with a lot of wisdom.
You gonna stay neutral? You want to say that?
Not neutral.
I got you.
No, I mean, because when I look at the same thing. When we have Elijah Cummings, who was underneath for Obama for 8 years.
About him like
for 8 years. And look at the 7th district.
That's absolutely.
What they say, my work speaks for myself. If you look at the work.
So what did you want, Jamal Bryant to get that job instead?
No, it's not that. It's that we got to stop nick and picking the situation and look at the situation as it is. Because many times we look at it like, okay, we got to be pro-black about this, or we got to be pro-white about things like that. I never said pro-white. No, I'm just saying it's not actually a color. It's not actually a color. It's the compassion that a person have to run a country or run a city. I mean, doing this stuff from the heart, and that's what I work from. I work from the heart, and my heart doesn't see colors as though I gotta stick with this person because this person is black, or I gotta stick with this person because this person is white.
And this guy here, he's the Alex Jones. He's the Alex Jones man.
No, I will watch. I will watch and take information from all sources. Then you filter the information.
I do as well.
What we cannot do is again allow anybody to give us this myopic vision and myopic view when it comes to any politician, but particularly black politicians. And this is what happened.
We are fighting a war. If we're fighting a war and the opponent is using guns, biological weapons, and espionage and every other trick you can come up with.
All options on the table.
How can we sit and say, look, we're just going to use bow and arrows and spears?
All options.
Let me say that.
But we got to be clear. We got to be clear who we're fighting against.
Let me say
this is what's happening right now.
Let me say
black politicians. It's more about class for them than it is color. When they get in trouble, then they start wanting to use the race card.
Let me tell you.
Other than that, it's but once they get in the way,
let me tell you this.
Then they start speaking French.
If we let this man get in office in 2020, Donald Trump, he gonna come out. He gonna come after your ass. He coming after you.
I don't think
it's
so.
a fight between
He
Trump.
coming all
Let's be
of us.
clear. This fight between Trump and the other whites is a fight between two groups of white people.
No.
And as my grandmother used to say, stay out of white folk business. If you see white folk fighting, stay out of white folk business.
If he get in,
the fight right now.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Fight right now that Kathy Pugh is in. That she's in the web because she didn't know what she was doing. Just why you gotta have.
I don't doubt that
either. You don't think the whites start.
If this brother let that guy get in, if he get in the second time, he coming after you, your daughter, you, and your SES. He coming after all of us. Yeah, you better believe it.
The first time he got in. This boogeyman politics.
He after that change. He after we after now.
Get in. We was being told he coming after us.
He
been in there now for almost 3.5 years and he ain't came, and we still being told. This is how the Democrats have always used that. They're scaring people into voting. That's what they've done.
He the same. He the same. He's the same people.
One at a time.
The same people.
Let me be clear about what I said. If you're on the chessboard, you gotta know your value on the chessboard.
Facts.
Don't put dummies out there, such as a cat.
The only thing I agree with him is
that
them girls that had no kings.
You don't think
she ain't got no man. She need one because she ain't nobody to rely on.
Let's study this now. Let's look at this quickly. Let's look at this quickly. The white power structure say normally whoever is the mayor in Baltimore City is gonna run for governor, right?
Usually.
Now, you don't think that they saw her maybe thinking that they were going O'Malley, because O'Malley still controls her. Let's be clear about that. Jim Smith.
We talking about Stephanie Rollins or we talking about Pugh?
All three. I can tell you some stories about that, okay? But most of your audience probably couldn't handle that. On my side, they can. Right? I just told you they all came out of Bethel, right?
Right.
All right, but now let's be clear. Jim Smith is O'Malley's boy. Jim Smith was her chief of staff. She created a whole office down there for Jim Smith. So the Irish, this is the Irish Catholic Jesuit mob, you got to understand, right? That was controlling her. Now, they was even planning to run her for governor. Now, if you Peter Franchot, yes, every mayor outside of Kurt Schmoke eventually ascended to become governor, right? Schmoke couldn't go because Schmoke promised the big boys they was going to bring casinos to Maryland. This was years ago. Glendenning double-crossed him and said he wasn't going to bring casinos. Kurt Schmoke got run out of town. You notice that he went to Howard University, right? And became the dean.
You don't like Kurt Schmoke?
I like Kurt Schmoke, but he's a Rhodes Scholar. So understand.
Is anything wrong with that?
No self-respecting African is going to be a Rhodes Scholar when you know how Cecil Rhodes carved up Africa. Hello, right? Ain't no self-respecting African taking no Rhodes Scholar.
When you say a Rhodes Scholar.
You know Cecil Rhodes?
Yes, I know that.
And you know what his will was in terms of those who accept the will and accept the Rhodes Scholar. They got to continue to work with Cecil Rhodes. I'm not picking and choosing.
He watches a lot of movies, and he watches every movie that come out.
When Kurt Schmoke became the mayor, again,
Kurt Schmoke spoke at my graduation.
Well, okay, but that's what our people say. Elijah Cummings spoke at my graduation. Kathy Spew spoke. That don't make him good because he spoke at your graduation,
no.
right?
So
that's a nice accolade. We applaud that. You know what I mean?
William Donald Schaefer, was he good?
Come on, William Donald Schaefer.
He like Schaefer. He like
right?
Schaefer.
You talk about having a
Schaefer, but let's be clear.
He talking about Schaefer now. He
could have went both ways. Let's be clear about that. All right.
He talking about Schaefer.
But look, let's be clear.
Nobody
Schaefer, right?
I think he's been a while.
And you got to understand. See, they say that it's one thing to be the king, it's another thing to be the kingmaker. And it's the guys that control Schaefer that end up gutting Baltimore City and moved it from a manufacturing town to a tourist and service economy. Yeah. They started stealing, right, our infrastructure, BG&E, Friendship Airport. You understand? It continued under Kurt Schmoke. It continued under Sheila Dixon.
And those
they're selling off our public assets is what they're doing.
Point out the people behind.
Oh, I have. If you listen to my show, I have pointed it out. The people that control
them white folks.
I'm talking about
the people that control. I talk about the people that control Captain Pugh. I talk about the people that's on the boards, and that's what we got. And this is the beautiful part about what's going on right now. And this is what we should do at the think tank. We have to open up the masses of our people eyes to these interlocking positions of corporations, foundations, and nonprofits, because the unseen is more powerful than the seen. So if no other show on radio outside of mine and the brother David Johnson have talked about, again, who's on these corporation boards and foundations, the importance of getting their SEC filings, etc., because they're the ones and the families that have been here for years that have controlled Baltimore. And this is a reality.
Baltimore is one city in this country, and every city's like that.
Yeah, but this is the first city that was established by the Jesuits. So when you can awaken our people here in this city, you can awaken the people in this region and around this country. So this is a good opportunity that we can seize it, right? Yeah. Because you have an opportunity for us to have a war room, right? So you can have flow charts and show our people. Let's take this hospital, see who's on the board, right? Let's take this institute, see who's on the board. Because Baltimore has been turned, as I said, from a manufacturing city to now it's a tourism and service. If you notice how the universities are expanding. They used to just do education. Now they're buying up properties in the black community, right? Mm-hmm. Micah on one side, Hopkins on the other side, Loyola on the other side, right? That's true. They're even using our HBCUs to do the same thing. Not that our HBCUs shouldn't develop the community, but they still got to have an intimate relationship with the community at the same time. But
this is not only in Baltimore.
No, this is what they're doing globally.
This is the world. This is the world.
That's what the Council on Foreign Relations says. That's not how the world. That's how parasitic capitalism.
That's how the world.
That's how fascism works. You understand?
That's how
we as Africans, we got to bring the balance.
We're trying to avoid fascism.
Right. It's fascism is what we're talking about.
And look,
fascism in the skirt is just as bad as fascism in the shirt. You understand? And that's
you need to be a lecturer in school.
We have to understand
this. You ain't had no impact on these people.
I've had deep impact. A deep impact on people all over the city and all over the state. So work to make sure they get me off of Radio 1. If I wasn't having impact, they would get me
when you was on that. I remember.
Off radio. We can't have no one out making up our people. That didn't come from Schaefer. That came from Mesa. That came from Larry Young. That came from the people that they've been working for. Even the Bank of America. Look, the Bank of America president called them and said, why is he on there talking about my wife, Laura Gamble, who was tied to the Bank of America and sat on boards and foundations? Used to be a newspaper that was out years ago.
And that was that's 15 years ago.
They're the only ones who wrote a newspaper years ago talking about who controls Baltimore. And they were showing all the interlocking corporations, foundations, etc. And I think that's what we need to have more of that.
But listen,
that's what black
people, if we don't make no money, we're going to be in the same boat we in. Been in.
Okay. You say money? but we got to raise the consciousness of our people,
Yeah.
the spirit of our people, because they've been beat down for so long. They're broken, and this is what has to happen. So
How
you got to
can
have
we raise
those
the
that can heal
conscience
people.
if you've sat here and tore down the last 3 black mayors that we've had?
I didn't tear them down. They tore
They tore
themselves
themselves
down.
down.
I didn't tear them down. They tore themselves down.
And the first black president.
And the first black president.
But again, I didn't tear him down. He tore himself down for not doing for the masses of our people.
And we need,
look,
and we all need to
as
vote for
Dr.
Donald Trump.
Let's be clear. As
And we
Dr.
all-
King said,
and we all
it's
need
a-
to vote
it's
for
a-
Donald Trump.
It's a dark day, right, in our nation.
Yes.
When
It's a dark day. That's
because
a
we have
goddamn right.
dissent,
Dark day.
our people think it's disloyalty. Because and this is what's happening with black media. They don't want you to dissent at all. They saying everybody get in line, say what we saying. Otherwise, we're gonna say you a
Tell me
Republican,
this.
you with the other
this.
side, and
Yeah.
you don't love
But
black
suppose,
people.
but
Hold on a
suppose
second,
it's
Dad.
true.
Hold on a second,
But
Dad.
suppose
And
it's
I'll
true.
never hold my
Let me ask you a
tongue for
question.
that.
When you decided, who was somebody that you listened to as far as radio before you got into it?
Oh,
Who you look-
I
who
just
you
grew up listening to black radio. Everybody.
Like, name some- throw some names out there.
You got any radio disc jockey talk show host that was on 1010, C Miles, okay, C Miles, Petey Green. Those were tops, right? Then any of the others, Sir Johnny O's and others that I grew up listening to. So black
what you-
radio.
I like
what you
Petey.
did- so
I
what
like
you did
Petey
was
Green.
look-
I know
you
Petey
looked at-
Green.
You looked at them.
I looked and I listened.
And you tried to understand what they were doing, dissecting it, and then put your spin on it, and that's how we got you.
No,
right?
I come straight from the heart. I don't have a spin.
Right, that's what I'm
You know
saying.
what
But
I mean?
and
I
you did
listen
it your way. I'm
and,
saying,
listen
you know,
to my elders.
you
Listen
cracked
to
the
my
mic your
elders.
way, exactly.
And I grew up in the Nation of Islam. So in the Nation of Islam, our
that's the
teachers,
other influence.
our teachers, and it was always about the love of our people, right? So when people hear me talk like this, they say, "Man, is that what the Muslims are teaching?" No, because
it's
they'll
not.
invite them because they go along and get along. Some of them. I'm not going to do that.
So-
And you see that we both grew up in the same house.
Well, it
And-
doesn't seem like that.
No, but you see what
I thought me and my sisters was different.
So you see the product of just getting out there, gaining that wisdom and knowledge and understanding. I didn't start getting into it to like 10 years ago. You know, he was doing it a long time, and I was just church. I was just church. It was just about getting in there, preaching the word and things of that nature, but didn't have anything was connected to the community that I was so spiritual bound that I wasn't no earthly good.
That's right. Gotta be
And so I
balanced.
was like, wow, my community is dying. My city is dying. And I'm just sitting in the pulpit preaching to people, telling them, ain't he all right?
right.
When they already know that he's all right. But now we got to go out and teach our people.
That's right.
The words that we are.
is what we teaching them, and the thing is that
It's
we have to
that my people are destroyed
we
for the
gotta
lack of knowledge.
understand what the game is, how the game is being played, and then play the game and master the game. That's what we have to do. But we can't tear down the ones who are trying to play, even if they mess up. Trump has 500 businesses
at a time.
that he is running,
Yeah, but he's
and he's making decisions, and he's
Right.
making legislation to benefit his businesses. And when he gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, his
We'll
supporters
we'll
do
go after
not
him the
do
same
anything
way.
but continue to support him. They make
Black and
excuses.
white.
Black and white, make excuses for him, prop him up, and it keeps on going.
Two arms don't make it right.
I'm gonna say it.
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
I'm
Two
gonna-
arms
It's
don't make
the
it
same.
right.
It's the
We
same
are-
way when you look at that, and you look at Brother Muhammad. The going back and forth with it,
Right.
where though it's the same thing they were doing with Obama, like you said. I mean, not Obama, with Trump, where folks are saying no, get him out of the office, and folks say he's doing a great job. So we'll be here all night debating.
Yeah, but it depends. He is
again-
doing a great job if you are in his pocket, if you on that team. But if you are a regular person, he ain't doing a great job. Those poor white people in the middle of the country that are parroting what he's saying, they not really feeling the benefits. They just believing about the game.
They wait for the coal
They're
mines.
not
They wait for the
benefiting.
coal mines to open up again.
100%. Yeah,
Right.
he told him the coal mine's coming back. What? Ain't no coal mine coming back.
So they all closed up.
They ain't coming back. They're closing.
They all closed.
They're closing.
Okay, but so you.
But they,
Ain't
they're
nothing-
not making.
ain't nothing coming
they're
back
not
like he
making-
said.
Let's be clear. Trump will be reelected. Okay. There's a force. So. There's a force behind the scene that controls Trump. This is a fight between two groups of Freemasonic organizations, right? This is what you got to understand. Trump is no dummy. Trump went to Fordham University. Trump is a Jesuit. You understand? You deal
why won't he show his grades?
You don't have to show no grades.
Of course, because
it's nothing in the Constitution to say because you're president you got to show grades.
How is he going to be so smart but he won't show his grades?
It's nothing.
How is he going to be so rich but he won't show his taxes?
Because again, you talking.
It doesn't work that way.
You talking.
That's like a rapper saying he can rap really good, but you won't care hear no songs.
Look,
I can mix really good, but you can't never hear me play no music.
People be saying President Trump, they want to show grades and all that.
No, he says that he's smart.
You understand what I'm saying?
He says that he's smart, but he can't prove it.
He's not. The people that control him is not even going to let him waste time on conversations like that to even get engaged like that.
Why does he say
you understand?
He said,
That's theater.
I'm like a smart person.
That's theater. That's theater.
Don't talk like
that. That's theater when you do that.
He's going to say a lot.
He is a liar. If you call Pugh a liar,
that's theater when you understand.
He's a new kind of liar.
That's theater.
But they job,
but Trump, what I'm telling you, Trump will be reelected. That's the bottom line.
Did you vote for Trump?
No, I didn't. No, see, when somebody asks me who I vote for, you know what I would say? How much money you got in your bank account? It's none of my business, right? Right? So who I vote for?
So that means yes. Because if you didn't, you would say no.
No, but I didn't vote for him. But the fact is, that's what people try to do. They say, well, did you vote for Trump?
But I tell you what, just tell me, did you vote for Trump?
I didn't vote for Trump, nor did I vote for Hillary Clinton. So you can say you vote for
the Green Party?
No, I didn't vote for either one at that time. See, I'm going to say again.
Are you going to vote for Trump this time?
That's a fight between two groups of white folk, right? Let them fight. We should be planning, organizing, and strategizing as a people. We should have a local agenda, we should have a regional agenda, a national agenda, and an international agenda. But you know why we don't have that?
I agree with that.
Because you don't see black. This is the Obama effect. Black people didn't want to come together then, and now the only way they come together is the fear of Trump. That's it. They'll follow any other group.
They came together for Obama.
They
came together for Obama. That's how it got in.
They came together
anytime somebody got some money, he'll talk about it.
They didn't want to do anything since Obama.
He'll say we need to organize.
This is the opportunity to organize.
We need a leader
right now.
We need a leader.
We need servants like never before. See, we don't need leaders. We need those who will serve our people.
This is the main point that gets lost. Everybody doesn't have the same job.
Right. No, everybody got a job.
Some of the conversation we've had today is over some people's pay grade.
You got to start right there where they are.
Some people, I'm saying everybody doesn't get the same message because everybody's job ain't the same.
Right. Everybody's job is not the same.
Yeah. So we have to. Some of the stuff you said goes to some of the people. Right. It's not for everybody. This enlightenment is not for everyone.
Every human being wants to be enlightened. Yeah. Every human being. People never before. That's like people be sitting around. Homeless people be talking about the Ravens won. They want to be enlightened. They want to know what's going on.
But that's not enlightenment.
But that's on a small scale.
Yeah.
It's enlightenment, but on a small scale, it's a feel good. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want to feel a part of something.
Unless they get ready to buy a team, that's not enlightenment.
Right? Yeah. Everybody wanted to be a part of the movement. Everybody had a different role to play, right?
Yes.
But they wanted to be the Million Man March. Everybody wanted to be a part of it.
Did you go?
Might disagree. Absolutely. Even those that was one of the organizers here and then in Delaware. But everybody wanted to be a part of it.
How beneficial was the Million Man March?
Well, it was very beneficial for that day, beneficial for that year, beneficial for those who went
beneficial
and took the pledge and carried it out, right? But you had to have a local agenda and a regional agenda and a national agenda and an international agenda. And that's what didn't happen, but that didn't happen in a vacuum. Don't think that there wasn't forces and sources that said we're going to destroy that unity of those black men. You understand? That always happened in the Civil Rights Movement. Counterintelligence, right? The COINTELPRO or COINTEL now is still in effect.
So do you think that black people shouldn't vote?
No, black people should vote, but black people should have an agenda
because you said Hillary and agenda
that they got to carry out. If they don't carry out our agenda, we don't give them our support. That's the bottom line.
So you mean they should vote locally in local,
they should vote in local elections and
state,
right? Unless we have an agenda where we can sit down with those who say they want our vote and get a contract to say this is what 10 things that you're gonna do for black people. And if you don't do it, then you don't get our support next time around.
What if it's two white people running? Do we get the same contract?
See, the Jews don't care who run it. The Jews got an agenda. And that's the issue. Elijah Cummings sending young
the
Jews to
Jews,
Israel every year.
care.
The Jews don't care if it's Trump or Hillary Clinton. You see that when they was running. But the Jews say you're gonna look out for Israel, and you're gonna come to this APEC. You're gonna come to this APEC conference, right? And you're gonna do right by Israel and Jews in America. We gotta have, if we have that love for our people, we're gonna do the same thing.
How can you say love for people at the way you talked about
for our people, for the masses of our people? I'm not talking about one. This is bigger than one. I'm just saying. But you keep saying about Obama. This is bigger than him.
But how can you motivate
Hold up, that. Tell me one black person in politics that's doing a good job. One that's
I
don't care whether it's national or local. Just give me one. Right. Stall as long as you need.
No, I ain't gonna stall. On local level, if the black community look the way it's look, you got members in the city council, but it's very limited. You got members. Jack Young's been doing a good job. You understand? You got members of Brandon Scott been doing a good job. Carl Stokes did a good job. Belinda Conaway, who's the city registered wills, been doing a good job. Did a good job as a councilwoman. You understand? Because they didn't just let Target open up. They said if you're gonna open up, you're gonna give back to Douglas. You're gonna go in there and repair the pool. You're gonna give back to the community. You're gonna hire people in the community. So you got to negotiate something. Nobody gives away something for nothing. You understand? So we got good local politicians, right?
So if that's the case,
we don't know
what the arrangements were in some of the things that you spoke about. But
look at let's take Elijah Cummings. Let's take Elijah Cummings. Perrin Mitchell. No, I don't like his policies, right? And I don't like what he's been doing to the masses of our people, right? They gave him the 7th Congressional District, which is all around the Inner Harbor. Yeah. And since he's been giving away the 7th Congressional District to Dutch Rupersbergers and others. So now he no longer has that strategic land down there. His 7th District has been redistricted all the way out into Howard County. Perrin Mitchell will be turned over in his grave right now to see what Elijah Cummings has allowed to happen with the 7th Congressional District. You don't hear no Jewish congressman, no Hispanic congressman, no Greek congressman saying they have a job fair. You know why? They make sure that people get fair jobs. We the only one sucker enough got a congressman running around here telling me he having a job fair. When Perrin Mitchell was living, your father just told you. He made a phone call, right? To say you ain't essentially saying you're not shutting that restaurant.
We still had people in the city that was doing bad.
No, you had people that was doing bad. You know what Perrin would say? He called the construction and say, "You gonna hire this young man? I'm sending him down here. How much training you need to hold a sign? One side say stop, the other side say go. You understand? And you see everybody in our community working except young black men. And you know the first thing the people will say? They can't pass a drug test. You think them Hispanics getting a drug test? They ain't even legal citizens in the city. You think they're getting drug tested?
But that goes back to the deal making leadership and the corruption and the doing things for your friends that we talked about from the beginning.
Yes, you got to have strong leadership.
And we have to maneuver within that.
Politics is supposed to reward your friends and punish your enemies. But when it comes to black politicians in the city, they punish their friends and reward their enemies for the most part. It's what we see taking place.
Maybe we don't define who the enemies are.
Yeah, they so confused they don't know who the enemies are or who their frenemies are for the most part. Because a sign of a good politician, show me your black millionaires you created. People can talk about Marion Barry and what he did, but he did this crime to himself.
Muhammad, every black millionaire that's around here, you don't like him no way because
they're millionaires.
You call them bourgeois. You
got bourgeois that can get down with the masses of the people.
Okay.
You go over to D.C. like R.W. Peoples and the work.
In order to make $1 million, usually the millionaires had to do something.
Kathy Pugh is Baltimore's newest millionaire, but she got it through the books and she got it through getting her palm.
Well,
I don't think she's a new millionaire.
She need to stay in office and come back and fight for her job.
Resign. And if she don't resign, all I keep saying is look at what they just did to Michael Bush. Don't think they won't do that to her.
My Lord.
Okay?
I want to say
the man had cancer.
There must be that accelerated time.
The man had cancer and he got the flu and he died.
She came down with pneumonia. He came down with pneumonia, right? She's 72.
No, she's 69. She's 69.
Dick Gregory always said, if you're dumb at 29, you can be dumb at 69. You
don't have to be dumb at 69 if you were dumb at 29. You're supposed to learn something.
You're supposed to learn something. Obviously, she didn't learn it. Like like Nat Oaks didn't learn it. Same trouble he got in at 29.
Most
He got it
people
at
that get pneumonia
69.
are older.
We need to get rid of politicians like that and get us a new
What, they get
group
pneumonia?
and crop
We
of
need-
young people and put them in a.
We
Why
need-
are
we
we
need-
wasting?
we need-
Why are we wasting our
We need
time
to
with
get
these old
Kushner in office.
politicians?
Kushner?
Yeah, he
Good
we
Lord.
need to get Kushner.
I want to
I said
thank
black
Kenny
politicians.
Ebron. I want to thank Mr. Muhammad for coming
you, brother.
to the
Thanks for
Father Son
having
News
us.
Show. We definitely have to do this again.
My brother.
Kenny, please plug your social media and all that good stuff.
Will do. Just want to tell you all to just really take this message and just share it. Make sure everybody see it. It's a good message. It's just great. So everybody, please share it. Because again, we are the people, and we got to come together. And wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and information that we are giving on tonight have so much power. And I believe that we can just change our city of Baltimore and make our city of Baltimore great again.
All right,
We can make
Mr.
it
Muhammad.
great again.
How
State
can
of
how
the
can we
City,
stay in touch with you?
WFBR 1590 every Saturday, 12 to 2. We the truth with the proof up in the booth. Necessary, we take it to the roof. But again, thank you for this opportunity, brother.
you.
Thank you, of course, Brother Dwight Williams. But thank those that tuned in on Facebook and those that are listening, of course. We're honored to be on, again, Radio on Fire. And look forward to coming back, having these kind of conversations again. But we definitely need a war room.
Yes.
So that's what's
I agree
important.
with that. I
And
agree
we got to
with
have
that.
a war room. We got to have a black
And
agenda.
And in that room, this is how the discussions go.
Right.
Yeah,
This is how they go.
That's
Yeah.
what family do.
Now just that's right. Now just think about this. If this brother showed if he had that love that he can give to our people, that they can, because he got the knowledge,
Yes.
but
And the
it's-
intensity.
and the intensity. He got
Passion.
everything. He got everything, but
And the love. It comes
and
from the love. From the
but
heart.
the balance is there. Because they're not gonna gravitate to him. He got the knowledge. He got all of it. He
Agreed.
got it. But it's just something. It's just something that's missing that I haven't been able to figure it out.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
Well, love
Yeah.
is blind, but marriage is an eye opener.
Yeah.
So you love Baltimore, and then when you marry Baltimore, you
Because he
really,
had Dick.
your
I
eyes
should
really
listen to
come
him every
open.
day every week when he got Dick Gregory on there.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Yeah, I remember.
I
And
love
most
him.
people didn't understand Dick Gregory.
Yeah,
Until
yeah.
see when you got a comet, a comet sometimes only comes along once in a lifetime. And most people
Facts.
never understand it
Oh, yeah,
until
Dick
later
Gregory.
on in their
I love
lives.
Dick
Yes,
You know what I mean?
that happens.
So
that happens.
That's what you're looking at when you hear Brother Muhammad, when you hear Dick Gregory. You know, they're rare, and most of our people don't appreciate it till later on in life.
So later on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And again, this is what the street need to see as well. When you see two brothers going at it, I mean, with different opinions going at it, but right at the end of the show, they hug with peace and love.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Absolutely. Definitely. Dad,
Agree and
thank
disagree.
you for another great show. Of course, we'll be back next week with more news, more debates. As always, we're on demand, radioonfire.com/father and son. All right. So, thank you.
Yep.
Take
Next
some
week,
pictures.
you have
See y'all next week.
you'll have a new mayor by next week.